Hello everyone, back again with me, Dante from Dante's Book Talk with another, book talk. To be honest with you, I don't have any new books to talk about because I still haven't finished my current read, and that is Down the Darkest Road by Tami Hoag. But since this is the third book in the Oak Knoll trilogy, I decided to talk about the two previous books, Deeper Than the Dead and Secrets to the Grave. Because I just think that it's weird, if I just jump and talk about the third one without talking about the previous two books. And that's pretty much the reason why I want to make this video. But joking aside, I truly want you guys to try this trilogy, especially if you're a fan of crime and thriller genre. The Oak Knoll trilogy by Tami Hoag is truly a nail-biting, suspenseful, and overall great trilogy, and I just think that this is one of the better ones in the game. So, without further ado, let's talk about the first one, and that is Deeper Than the Dead. Taking place in Oak Knoll, California in the year of 1985, the story begins when four children discover a woman's body that's half buried with her eyes and mouth glued shut. This horrifying incident, of course, throws the people of Oak Knoll into the state of panic as they realize that there is a serial killer among them. Tasked with finding the predator, FBI agent Vince Leon has to use the profiling technique to find out the identity of the killer. But unfortunately, as the pressure from the media grows and the number of the dead bodies start to increase, he and Navarre, the children's teacher, have to catch the killer as soon as possible before more innocent women fall victim to the murderous psychopath. So the first interesting thing about this novel is the fact that it takes place in a time where the forensic science and technology were not as sophisticated as they are today. So it's actually quite fascinating to see how our main characters try to find out the killer's identity using whatever techniques and tools that they have at their disposals, which aren't that many. Second, as all great crime thrillers books are, this book is also suspenseful and intense from the very beginning till the very end. And it's not only the manhunt itself that is intense, even some of the personal moments, the conversations, they can also be as intense as the manhunt itself. In addition to that, there are also lots of characters that are involved in this story, and all of them react differently to the case. This then makes their actions to be unpredictable, and it kind of makes you feel curious as to what they are going to do next. Are they going to make the situation worse or better? Another interesting thing about this novel is the fact that we can also see the story from the suspects' families' perspectives. Essentially, we have three main suspects in this novel, and all of whom are fathers/husbands. Of course, this is truly fascinating because imagine if your husband or your father is suspected to be a serial killer. This is a man whom you trust your life with, and then right now he's suspected to be the Ripper himself. Of course, it will be, impossible to accept. And sadly, this also leads to, bitter tension in the suspects' families, and as the husband's dark secrets start to get unraveled, their marriage starts to fall apart. But not only the wives, we also get to see how their children are also deeply affected, emotionally, psychologically, and even physically. And that's pretty much the reason why I think that this novel is great, because this is not simply about a group of law enforcers, chasing a madman. This is also about a tragic family drama. So, because all of the reasons that I've just mentioned, I just think that this book deserves a 4.5 out of 5. The only reason why it's not a 5 out of 5 is because the identity of the serial killer itself is not that mysterious. But trust me, it did not really disappoint me in any way. I still enjoy this novel, and I do recommend it, especially if you're a fan of the crime and thriller genre. So yeah, that's the first novel, and right now we're going to talk about the second one in this series, and that is Secrets to the Grave. But before we talk about this one, as always, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notifications, and also like and share this video, because with that, you will truly help this channel to grow. So, thank you. The story of the Secrets to the Grave basically begins when the peaceful town of Oak Knoll is once again shocked by another murder case. This time, it involves a body of a woman named Marissa Fordham, whose body is found brutally murdered in her house. Besides her body is her young daughter, Helly, who's fortunately survived the horrible incident. In their attempt to understand what actually happened, Vince Leon, Tony Mendez, a sheriff detective, and Navarre are all puzzled because the pieces that they find just can't seem to fit. But, as if the case were not enigmatic enough, they make another yet shocking discovery. Apparently, Marissa Fordham herself never existed. So the second novel is actually different from the first one, where in the first one we deal with a serial killer. This one only deals with a killer, so there's only one dead body. So this novel is kind of like your usual murder mystery where there's a dead body and there are a number of suspects whom you, well, suspect to be the culprit. This doesn't mean that the story is not intriguing. In fact, it is still complex and interesting because, like I mentioned in the synopsis, who is Marissa Fordham? You know, why was she murdered? And is Hallie even her daughter? Despite of the fact that the first half of the novel is a little slow, the second half of it will definitely enthrall you with its insane twists and turns, just like the ones in the first novel. But what's interesting about this novel is the fact that the case in the first novel is continued in the second novel, and some of the characters actually also appear again in this novel. And I can tell you right now that the third novel, Down the Darkest Road, also does the same thing. So this kind of makes the Oak Knoll trilogy feels like it has its own universe that keeps expanding as the series goes on. And just for your information, I actually have reviewed this book before, and you can find the review on my Bookstagram account at That Bookish Guy. At that time, I give this book a 4 out of 5. And to be honest with you, I think that my opinion hasn't changed since. I still think that this book is a 4 out of 5 read. It's not a terrible book by any means, you know, I still enjoy it, but I just think that I enjoyed the first novel a lot more than this one. So yeah, those are the two books that I would like to talk about with you today, and hopefully you enjoyed today's book talk. And as always, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notification, and also like and share this video. And with that, my name is Dante from Dante's Book Talk. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.